Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing the mid-year book tag. I know it is not technically mid-year anymore. We are a little past mid-year, but I really wanted to do this video and now is the first time that I've had a chance to sit down and do it. And so we are doing that today. I have a special place in my heart for this tag because this is the first video that I ever posted on YouTube. It's privated now for my own sanity, but it is the first video that I ever did, that I ever filmed and posted on YouTube. Was a mid-year book tag 2 years ago. I did it last year as like a remaking my first video type video. I do have that one still live, so I will link that one down below. But since I now have this channel, which is my second channel, if you did not know, my main channel is called Lydia. That is my fashion, beauty, lifestyle channel. This is my second channel where I was intending to post random videos and it has kind of turned into a book channel. I don't know if it will stay a book channel, but I will always be posting my book content on this channel. So that's what we're doing today, mid-year book tag. I'm so excited. I have my questions pulled up right here. I basically just pulled the questions that I did last year, and I think I added maybe one or two. There are a ton of creators that do this video. It is very popular on BookTube, and so I don't know where I got the questions from the first time. Like, I don't know whose video I got them from, but there are many people on YouTube that have done this video probably already this year since it is fully into August now, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. So according to Goodreads, I have read 54 books so far this year, which is so crazy for me because normally I read around 50 books per year, and so to have already read over 50 books for half of the year is just so wild to me. It is definitely because of the bookstore. My family owns a bookstore in my hometown, and I think being there so much has given me time to read, and just being immersed in books has made me more excited to read, and I feel like I've gotten into a really good track of mood reading and only reading books that I'm excited to, and being more okay with putting down books that I am not fully filling. So yeah, I've read 54 books this year, which may be a lot or nothing depending on how much you read in a year, but for me that is a lot. I had to update my Goodreads goal. I had it at 55 and so I updated it to 100. So I don't know, if I read 100 books this year, I'm gonna feel so proud and accomplished because that is a lot of reading to do. But we will get right on into the tag. The first tag is the best book you've read so far this year. And I am choosing a series because this year I read the Throne of Glass series. This has been the pillar of my reading experience this year. No matter what else I've read this year, I've always just kept thinking about the series, and I think a lot of people who have read the series feel that way. It was just incredible. It is the most amazing world building ever. Like, I just couldn't believe how she was able to craft these different characters and their personality and their backstories. So many characters in this book. Like, I feel like there are with a lot of fantasy books, but especially with this one, you get so many POVs towards the last half of the series. And the way that Sarah J. Maas's mind works is just insane to me because she's able to just connect everything back to the series. And again, towards the last part of the series, they get really thick and really long, and it's worth every single word on the pages to read because it's just that good. I've told a couple people that I feel like this series has ruined me for fantasy forever because I don't see how anything could ever compare to this series. This is a young adult series, so there isn't a whole lot of like sexy time in this book. It's very much based around the plot, which is, I think, is what made it so incredible because there were so many plot things in this book that I don't know how to describe it without giving things away, because I went into this book pretty much not knowing anything. I knew that, actually I'm not gonna say that. I knew one little thing that I thought was going to be a spoiler, but it actually ended up not being a spoiler. I was just kind of anticipating it happening, so it ended up being fine. Besides that random video, I pretty much went into this blind, and so I would suggest you do the same if you haven't read this series. If you have, please can we talk about it in the comments because oh my gosh, it's incredible. I also think that if you are a guy and you want to get into more of a fantasy series, this is a great book for guys as well. I have recommended it to a lot of guys at the bookstore, and I've had guys come back and tell me that they enjoyed it. I think because it is so plot based, I just think it's great for all readers because it is so plot based, so there isn't as much romance and like sexy times there is, especially in ACOTAR. I haven't read Crescent City yet, but yeah, absolutely incredible piece of literature. I feel like this is going to be studied at some point because wow, just wow. Wow. I will say that it took me until Heir of Fire to really get into it, and I wanted to put that out there because I feel like so many people could get bored with the series and maybe not fully get into it and stop reading it by the first or second one, and I totally understand that because I was kind of the same way. I knew that I was going to finish the series because this is such a hyped book. Really, it took me to like the middle of Heir of Fire to actually like want and get excited to read and keep reading, that I feel like I finished the last part of the series so quickly. So if you haven't read this and you want to, and you get into Crown of Midnight and you're just like, what is going on? Crown of Midnight is the second one. Just read Heir of Fire, and I have a feeling you're gonna be hooked because it is so incredible. The next prompt is the best sequel that you've read so far this year, and that has to be Onyx Storm. This is the third book in the Fourth Wing series. There are certain series for me that I can remember so vividly reading them for the first time because I just got so immersed in the world and in the story that I felt like all I could think about while I was reading it was the book and the characters and how everything was going to end out. And Fourth Wing is definitely one of those series for me. I absolutely love this series. It makes me feel like how I did when I read fantasy for the first time. The ACOTAR series was the first fantasy series I ever read. I read it senior year of college, and I was just like, what is this genre? I need more of it. I need all of it. And that's kind of how Fourth Wing made me feel, like just so excited and so grateful to be a reader that I got to experience that. And that's how Fourth Wing felt for me. That was no different with Onyx Storm. Onyx Storm's ending, holy mother, what was going on? I finished this book at like 3 or 4 a.m., stayed up reading it, and had to reread the last chapter or a couple chapters because I was like, what? I couldn't understand what was going on. I still don't think I fully understand what was going on. I was on my phone like looking up Onyx Storm ending summaries and explanations, and I was like, I still am just so in shock by the ending, and I love that. I love a twist ending. Some of the plot and world building in this book can kind of turn people away from the series, and I think it can kind of take them out of the story, but for some reason it did not for me at all. I was so into it, and every little piece of world building or like random scene that we got, I absolutely ate up. I am so excited for the next book in the series. It needed to come out immediately. I also got the Sprayed Edges version. This is the first Sprayed Edges book I ever got, so yes, Onyx Storm. I wanted to give a quick little shout out to Heir of Fire because like I mentioned, this is the third book in the Throne of Glass series. Technically the fourth book if you count Assassin's Blade, which is like the prequel book, but this is like the third main book in the series. This is the book that solidified that I was gonna love this series for me. There is a scene that happens between two characters halfway through. I'm just gonna say it involves who did this to you, and yeah, I just, woo! It was good. It was really good. And this book just made me so excited to read the series. So excited to continue in on the world and the romance and everything about it. So I had to give a little special shout out to Heir of Fire. My camera battery is dying. One moment, please. Okay, we're back. I should have done that beforehand, but I did not. Okay. New release you haven't read yet but are excited to. I have a few on my list. One is called Beautiful Things. I actually just bought this. I'm not sure where it is. I got the Sprayed Edges version, so I'm really excited about. It is actually a reprint of a romance book. I think it's a Regency romance book. I thought it was a new release, but I think it's actually just a reprint with a new cover and the Sprayed Edges. But honestly, I don't know if I would have picked it up with the old covers, and I really love the new cover, so I think it was smart of her to re-release it with a new cover. The other one is actually a nonfiction book. It's called JFK Public Private Secret by J. Randy Taraborelli. I read a book by this author on Grace Kelly. It was a Grace Kelly biography, and I absolutely loved that book. The amount of work that I could tell and like research that he put into this book was just incredible. I think he's a pretty popular biographer. He actually did one on Jackie Kennedy called Jackie Private Public Secret, and this is JFK's version, so I want to read Jackie's first and then read the JFK one, but I'm excited to read it at some point. Most anticipated release for the rest of the year. I have a list for you that I am excited to read. I'm not going to go into the like plot of these books. I'm just going to give you the book name and the author name and like what genre it is. The first one is called Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kimmerer, and it is the first book in a new fantasy series. I believe a new young adult fantasy series. The next one is called The Academy by Ellen Hildebrand. This is her first book that's not going to be set in Nantucket. She released her book last year with the announcement that that will be her last book in her Nantucket world. She's based all of her books mostly in Nantucket, and so this starts a new, I think it might be set in Virginia or something, but yeah, this is her first book not set in Nantucket, which is exciting. The next book is called The Heartbreak Hotel by Ellen O'Clover. This is a new romance book. I think it's going to be kind of fall themed, so I'm excited about that. The next book is called The Austen Affair by Madeline Bell. This is about two actors who are starring in a Jane Austen adaptation film who accidentally go back in time to when Jane Austen was writing the book. The next one is called Old Money by Kelsey Miller, and this is a new thriller book set in an exclusive country club. The next one is called Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood, which has the cutest cover in the whole world. It's about a good witch, I think. It's a new cozy fantasy. The next one is called A Queen's Match by Catherine McGee, which is the sequel to A Queen's Game, which is a young adult book based around 3 princesses in England and them trying to find love. And then the last one is called Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, and it's a love story, but the male main character is the ghost of Christmas Past. And I'm so excited. I think that is so funny, and I'm really excited to read that one. All right. Next prompt, favorite new author or genre, and I'm definitely going with Miss Sarah Adams. I have read 4 of her books this year and have absolutely loved each and every one of them. I don't know where my 4th one went. So I've read When in Rome, Practice Makes Perfect, the rule book, and the cheat sheet, and I truly have no idea where the cheat sheet went. I could not find it anywhere in any of my places where I have books, which actually is a lot, so it could be in a lot of different places, but yeah, I couldn't find it. But I love these books. These are all romance books. None of them are very spicy, but they're all just very like sweet romances. And I think for some people this could come across as a little like elementary in terms of a romance book, because they're not always like super deep, I would say. There are definitely like deep themes throughout them, burnout and anxiety and that kind of thing, but they are such fast-paced books, and they're the perfect length for me, because I think if we were reading about these characters for longer than this length, we might get bored with them, but this is just the perfect little like filler romance book for me, and I have really enjoyed them. I'm so excited to read more of her books. The When in Rome series has the 3rd one out already. I just haven't read that one yet, and then the 4th one to round out the series comes out next year, I believe next January, and I'm really excited to read that one. I have just really loved these. If you are ever in the need of kind of like a palate cleanser, you just need to get a quick cute book in to get you out of a slump, I think this would be great for that. I don't think it's ever taken me longer than a day, maybe 2 days to read these books, because they are that fast paced and that quick. I just love the author's writing too, and something about her writing and my brain jive really well, and I just fly through these books. But I really love these, and I'm so excited to read more books by her. I need her to keep writing books like this, because I think if I ever got into a really bad slump, I could read 1 or 2 of these and immediately be brought out of it, which is so nice to have in your repertoire. One of those. The next prompt is newest fictional crush, and I have kind of a lot. I've been crushing hard this year. The first one is Rio from Rewind It Back. This is the last book in the Windy City series. This was my first 5-star in the series, which I was so excited about. I have said this about the series before, but I just feel like each book gets better and better in the series, because I really did not enjoy the first one, and I just started enjoying them a little more and more throughout, and this one was just perfect. I gave it a 5-star. I loved Rio so much. Rio was down bad for his lady, and I was just obsessed with it. I loved their story. I love how everything ended up. Rio is almost too perfect. Like, I don't know if there's a man out there that would act like Rio acts. I mean, maybe there is and I just haven't met him, but I mean, yeah, Rio's perfect in every single way. The way he treats Hallie is just precious, and I just love them and him. I really love him, and he is one of my newest fictional crushes. The next one I have is The Rose Bargain. This was another 5-star read for me. I wasn't sure where to include this one, so I ended up putting it on this prompt, but I cannot recommend this book enough. It was so good. I truly cannot wait for the 2nd book to come out. It ended on such a cliffhanger, but my crush in this book is Prince Emmett. He is so funny. The banter in this book is great. This is young adult, so I would say spice level is at like a 0. The story just captures you right away, and this author's writing is incredible. Sasha Payton Smith. I read The Witch Hunt and The Witch Haven duology by her 2 years ago, I believe, and enjoyed that series, but it wasn't like anything special to me. But this one, oh my gosh, I actually have a full reading vlog on this one on my main channel before I created this channel, so I will link that down below as well. I loved this book so much. I will definitely reread it. I could honestly reread it now and be so happy. I've gotten so many people from the bookstore onto this book, and everyone has loved it. 5 stars all around. It's just a really well written book. The characters are lovable. It's so funny. It's so like witty, and the twist honestly really got me. So Emmett from The Rose Bargain. And then Rowan, sweet Rowan. Yeah, I love him. I love him. I think he is amazing, and he is going up there with Rhysand for me on Sarah J. Maas Men. So that's a pretty high caliber to achieve, and he achieved it with flying colors. So Rowan, I love you. Y'all are gonna be so tired of me talking about Throne of Glass by the end of this video, but I read the entire series this year, and it's just been a staple. So, book that made you cry, that is Miss Kingdom of Ash. This is the last book in the Throne of Glass series. She's a thick girl, and I ate up every single page of this book. Every single word, every single letter I loved. I can't even explain what this book did to me. I mean, this is where I was just like, Sarah J. Maas, the woman that you are, the mind that you have, how you can connect all of these things and bring all these little ties together and like little nuggets that you drop throughout the rest of the books and bring them all together in this book. I cried real tears over this book. You can kind of tell I was crying on the book, and I feel like I have little water spots on it. It was just amazing. It's so heartbreaking at the beginning, and it's even more heartbreaking throughout. So I was definitely crying like sad tears, but then I was also crying happy tears and like triumphant tears, and yeah, it's just amazing. I don't know what I can say to convince you to read this book if you haven't, but it's so true. Like, I think it's 100% worth all the hype it's ever gotten. It is that good. And even if you think you aren't a Sarah J. Maas fan, if you read ACOTAR and didn't love it, I understand, but this is so different from ACOTAR. Please read the series if you haven't. If you have, please talk to me in the comments about it, because wow. Okay, next prompt, book that made you laugh, and that was definitely Lucy Score's Story of My Life. I went into this book with pretty low expectations because the one Lucy Score book that I had read before I did not like at all. I don't know if I gave it a 2 stars, but it was definitely like a very low 3-star. It was called By a Thread, and I just felt like that book, once we got into sexy time, the plot went to the wayside, and it was just sexy time from there on out, and nothing was happening, and I was like, what is the point of reading this book? And this book was not like that at all. This book was so good. It was hilarious. This woman had me laughing out loud. So this is about a romance author that goes to a small town to write her next novel, and the things that happen in the small town just crack me up, because I am from a very small town in Kentucky, and I understand the dynamics and sometimes the eccentric nature of people in a small town, and this book definitely showcases that very well. It is hilarious. There's something that happened with a bald eagle that got me absolutely laughing my butt off, and it was a really good romance too. The third act breakup was not my favorite. I don't love a third act breakup. I think it's hard to do that well, but it was really good and so funny. And again, I've got people on this at the bookstore. They've loved it as well. This is gonna start a new, I think, trilogy, because this main character, the guy, has 2 brothers, and I think we're gonna get the 2 brothers have their own romance book too, which I'm very excited about and I will totally read. It was just hilarious and so good. All right, next prompt is biggest surprise, and I have 2 books for that. One is Retreat by Kristen Ritter. This was a surprise for me because I loved this book, and I honestly didn't have very many expectations going in. There was a woman at the bookstore that came in and asked us to order this for her. It was a new release, and so we ended up getting a couple for the store as well. The way that she explained it to me was about a con artist trying to take over a socialite's life, and I was like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting, kind of like Anna Delvey. I was just very intrigued by it, and then I read the inside flap, and it's about a con artist who gets basically the opportunity to kind of go legit. She's hired by a socialite to handle an art installation in her house in Mexico, and she gets mistaken for the socialite, and so she starts kind of living her life. It was just so good. I loved that it was set in Mexico because it was a very like tropical setting, and there were just like little things that kept happening and little twists. It's not a very long book. It's actually pretty short. It's only 250 pages, and so she packed a lot into these 250 pages, so you never got bored. It was also a good thriller that wasn't too scary, because I'm not a huge mystery and thriller reader. I definitely prefer other genres, mostly because I'm a little scaredy cat and I get scared if I'm reading too like graphic or too scary of a thriller or mystery book, but this one was just the right amount. It was very intense, and like things kept happening that I was like, what is going on? Kept me intrigued. And then, yeah, the twist at the end was really great. You end the book kind of not knowing what happened, and that was the only part where I was like, I don't love an ending like that. Like, I just want to know what happened, and I want it to be very clearly stated what happened, and you don't really get that with this book, but it didn't deter me from enjoying the book. So Retreat by Kristen Ritter, really enjoyed this. And then the next book I don't actually have a copy of because I listened to it on audio, and that is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one was a surprise because I have not really enjoyed a lot of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books that I've read, and I don't know why. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because I don't jive with her writing sometimes, but I just didn't really have high expectations for this book, but I had heard really good things about it, and Audible was actually having like a 2-for-1 sale. You could get 2 books for 1 credit, and I really wanted to read the Tom Selleck memoir, and that was on there, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get that, and then I'll find another one, and I saw Carrie Soto was Back on there, and I saw that it was with a full cast, and I think that was one thing that really added to my enjoyment of this book, was that the audiobook is read by different people, and so it feels very much like a movie in your head. So the book is about a woman tennis player. She was the greatest in the world. She retires. Someone comes and basically overtakes her record, so she comes back out of retirement to take back her record, and you go through this journey with her coming out of retirement and starting to play games again, and it was just a really great book. It really broke my heart at certain points, but I enjoyed the ending. It didn't end the way I wanted it to, but I could understand why she ended it like that, and yeah, I just really loved it, and I feel like this has opened up the door for me to read more Taylor Jenkins Reid's books because I didn't enjoy some of the other ones. Yeah, I really liked it, and again, I would 100% recommend listening to it on Audible or on audio because the full cast just added so much to the story. And last but not least is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year. I decided to go with Summer in the City by Alex Astor. Y'all, I loved this book. I gave this book 5 stars, and I think I gave it 5 stars because it was just so ridiculous, but in the best way. It is a billionaire romance, and there are scenes in here that are just so unrealistic, but in the most enjoyable way. I loved this book, and it is really beautiful, and I think that added to my reading experience as well. I loved the cover. I think it's very eye-catching with the hot pink and the red, but then you turn it on the side. It's set in New York, and so the sprayed edges have the New York skyline in pink, and then part of the book is that the main characters go to certain locations in New York, and when you open up the flap, it's a map of New York in pink. And I just love this book. I loved the story. I loved the romance. It was a great ending. It was so ridiculous, but so much fun to read, and I would highly recommend you read this book. And it's just beautiful. I don't know if you can get this sprayed edges edition anymore, but if you can, definitely get the sprayed edges because it's so pretty. That was the mid-year book tag. I hope you all enjoyed. I love making this video. I think it's so fun to go through the books that I've read this year. It's nice to look back and see how many 5 stars I've had. I just feel like I've had a really good reading year, and I'm so grateful for that. It's making me excited to see what the rest of the year will bring if it goes the same way that it has been going. So yeah, that was my mid-year book tag. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, let me know what kind of videos you would like to see on this channel. If you have any recommendations or requests, let me know, and I will see you next time. Bye!